This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Minns.
The complimentary wine was bitter and too bubbly, but Jerry was just happy to be there. He had received the VIP lanyard upon arrival at the sign-in desk, 2 hours before the rest of the ticket holders were to march in and take their seats. His ticket afforded him the opportunity to meet and greet with Mr. Jon Ronson just before the latter's performance at the sold-out Sydney Town Hall. Jerry was in awe of the innocuous writer who defined a generation of investigative, gonzo-style journalists with his distinct ability to insert himself into the most violent, extreme, and heart-wrenching of situations, and come out on the other end with a tale to tell. Jon Ronson converted most of his writing into audiobooks and podcasts, which proved to be incredibly successful on the BBC platforms that bankrolled him. He was popular enough with his subject matter that he was able to transfer his talents to the financing of private multinational content producers such as Audible and Amazon. His risque subjects range from the global impact of pornography in a digital age to the hidden and seductive qualities of psychopaths and the paths of destruction left behind in extreme examples, along with the methods used by authorities to identify psychopathic behavior. Ronson continued his career analyzing culture wars that had amplified as the world was forced into a shutdown during the pandemic, left with nothing but access to the internet and an axe to grind. Jerry thrived off his dulcet tones. Ronson had an instantly recognizable voice that Jerry found soothing, informative, and calming. As a result, he binged all content produced from the mouth of the thin-spectacled inquisitor. At that very moment, clad in a corduroy dinner jacket and pop art t-shirt depicting a very noticeable scene from Stanley Kubrick's King adaptation The Shining, he was escorted by an unfriendly stage handler, clad in black with an obligatory earpiece, and overly loud radio emitting obnoxious floor directions from beyond the green room. "This is," the stagehand said as she checked her clipboard. "Dawn and Gary." Ronson held out a reluctant hand to shake. "How do you do?" he said. She moved him along. "This is Andrew. How do you do?" "Good, mate. I'm such a fan." "Oh, thank you." They reached Jerry. He took a deep breath. He had rehearsed this moment for the last 4 weeks. He re-listened to all 7 hours of the audiobook version of the psychopath test. He outlined the parallels between his own life and that of Ronson's. He too played in bands in his youth. He considered himself a writer and practiced the craft daily. He was also acutely aware that he was registering an identifying trait on the psychopath test: delusions of grandeur. "This is Jerry. How do you do?" "I'm great. It's very nice to meet you. I'm such a fan." "Oh, thank you." Ronson smiled pleasantly, and Jerry kicked himself for repeating the line of the non-fan he perceived had paid lip service to him moments earlier. "Actually, I'm just—" Jerry began as he raced towards Jon, who was visiting the next recipient of the VIP treatment. "We will return to you, sir," said the stagehand. "I'm sorry, it's just that—" "Jon," Jerry began, but he was lost for words now that the moment he had anticipated was occurring before his very eyes. "I just wanted to say that I, too, am a writer, and it's because of you, and I think you should read my work and analyze it, and then we could have a discussion of it, and maybe we could become acquaintances and pen pals." Jerry drew the last depths of breath he had left before he suspected he was to be requested to vacate the green room, and possibly the building. "I think we have a lot in common. I've reread the psychopath test 3 times. I've listened to all of your podcasts and all of the interviews you have partaken in. I think you would find me a very stimulating friend in your life, and I think you should just give me a chance." He breathed in deeply and took a step back, conscious that he was standing closer to Ronson than anticipated, partly so that he could get his desires across without the man leaving the room in confusion and discomfort. It appeared to have the opposite effect. "So that's great," Ronson said as the room chuckled. "What do you want me to do with that information?" Jerry shook his head. His fantasies didn't account for the man he had hoped to meet and greet via this present he had shouted for himself on his 40th birthday, would actually indulge the concept of taking Jerry up on his offer of friendship. He suspected Jon was being facetious. "Do you want me to just walk out of this room with you, and maybe you and I could go and get some dinner and discuss poetry and books and films that we like? Perhaps TV shows we both enjoy and dissect the nuances that make them great." "Is that what you would like from me?" Jon asked. No, of course not," Jerry said instinctively, although his heart warmed to the idea. I think you do. Otherwise, why would you burst out with such an invasive speech in front of everyone in this room who have all paid upwards of $200 to be here? They're now having a reduced experience thanks to you. Don't you think that's a little selfish? Are you having a laugh? Do you really think I would abandon these people in this room and the 1,000 people who are about to enter the town hall to see me present my show so that I could have dinner with you? Someone I do not know, whom I have never met and know nothing about, on the off chance that you think we might make, as you say, great mates? It was rhetorical, but Jerry felt compelled to answer. He wanted to stem the bleeding that his intrusion had caused. I'm sorry I said anything. I really didn't mean to cause... Let's go, Ronson interrupted. The two men walked down George Street towards the Korean eateries. Ronson was guided by Jerry, being a stranger in this foreign town. And you say this is the best noodle house in Sydney? That's a big call. You will be saying the same thing too, Jon. Just wait. 30 minutes into their meal, Jon looked down at his temporary phone that travelled with him for the duration of the tour. The screen was littered with hundreds of missed calls and unread text messages. This thing was quiet as a mouse this morning, he said. I'm sorry, Jerry said remorsefully. No, don't be. I chose to be here. Why did you? Jon sat back, wiped soy sauce from his chin with a napkin, and looked at Jerry before answering. I once stood in front of Hunter S. Thompson when I was just starting out, hustling to get paid writing work. He was on assignment in London. We managed to be standing next to one another on a street corner in Soho. He was documenting a politician who had some ties to Texan oil companies, and I was there on a rumour that the same Polly was going to give a statement. I was in awe of this man. Thompson, that is, not the Polly oil baron. I had idolised him since my early teens when I discovered the Hells Angels book in my local library, and was barred from borrowing it by the uptight community librarian. I would sneak in past the rows of references where she couldn't see me with a paperback copy hidden beneath my English or math textbooks on the weekends, loving every line and sentence. He was one of the reasons I wanted to be a journalist. When I stood next to him, I went numb, and I just wanted to share with this man everything that he had done that had made me feel alive, that had given me the burst of energy that had driven me to where I am. I wanted him to know, firstly, that. Secondly, I wanted him to know me and my work and what I was capable of. I wanted us to be contemporaries. Ronson took a sip of his tiger beer. So what happened? Jerry asked. He told me to fuck off and slapped me in the face when I held out my hand to meet him, Ronson said as he stood from the table. The show starts in 10 minutes. I had a lovely meal, Jerry. Thank you for your time. I'll give your blog a read when I get a chance later this week. He headed for the exit. The waitress came over to collect his empty plate. Just the check, please, Jerry requested. Already paid, she replied.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.